Alright, so this is going to be our notes page for today, and it's going to be a little bit different than what you guys are used to, what we talked about so far, but it's just kind of going straight into if you're missing the part, the percent, or the whole. So this, technically, this equation or ratio, however you want to say it, is what you'll use for the majority of your percent problems when you're solving problems. So the part, the whole, the percent, and 100. 100 will always be the same. Why? Why will your 100 always be the same? Delilah?
Because it's 100% of the whole.
Right, because it's 100% of whatever the whole is. All right, so for this first part, we're looking for the missing part. So we're trying to find this number here. So there'll always be an X in that place. So the first question is, it says, what is 15% of 23? So the easiest number to always locate is the percent when we're not looking for the percent, because it tells us what it is, right? So where does that 15 go? Where do you think the 15 goes?
On top?
Of?
The first one?
Nope. So look at your information here. Where does your percent number go? Mila? On top of the 100, because it tells us that this is our percent. So we're going to put 15 over here. And then the whole number is what we're trying to find, like out of. So 23 is our whole number. And then our X, because that's our unknown number, goes there. Okay, what does the word of mean? What does the word of mean when we're talking in math? Okay, that one. When we're talking in math, what does of mean? Ronnie?
Like the part of the number?
No? Like, so let me rephrase my question. What operation goes with of in math, Tyra?
Multiplication.
So that's gonna tell you that we're always gonna be, essentially multiplying that last number. So here, you're gonna do a cross multiplication. So obviously there's not enough room on here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this down, and I want you to write in your notebook. So we're gonna rewrite this as x over 23 equals 15 over 100. So now you're going to cross multiply. Okay, so you get, what's 15 times 23? Can't do it in your head. Go ahead and do. Alright, so this is essentially what you get when you cross multiply, which you're probably like, what in the world? Is that what you're thinking right now? A little bit? A little bit? Alright, so here, essentially, remove the x for a minute, and we have to write this as a decimal. Because 345% of 100. Remember how we talked about how your percents could be over 100? So if I were to rewrite this, I'm going to get 3 and 45 hundredths. Because there's 3 whole percents there, right? Does that make sense to you guys? So, and you guys, so remember we talked about the pizza question, where it was 225%, how many pizzas did we eat? So here I have 340, 100% equals 100. So I'm going to subtract 1 there, that gives me 245. I'm going to subtract 1 there, that gives me 145, and I'm going to subtract 1 there, that gives me 45. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's where I got my 3 from. And then whatever's left is the rest of my decimal. Alright. So this is a very long, drawn-out way to do this problem. Would you like to see a much easier? This is, remember I like to show you strategies. So this is the correct full-out strategy. The other strategy you can do is you can look at your original problem, which was x over 23 equals 15 over 100. What is 15 hundredths? How would I write that? How else can I write 15 hundredths? Aiden?
0.15.
Alright, so technically, I'm just simply going to do 23 times 0.15, which is going to give me 3 and 45 hundredths. That's if you understand how to write your percentage, essentially the 15 hundredths as a decimal. So here's one way. Here's another way. I don't care which way you do. I really don't. I want you to do whatever makes the most sense to you. Alright, so our answer for this one is 3 and 45 hundredths is 15% of 23. Alright, and the rule with this one, with the missing part, if you're going to do it the simple way, is you're simply going to move decimal 2 places to the left, which is essentially what we did, right? I took 15 hundredths as a fraction and wrote it as a decimal. Alright, so of means again we're going to be multiplying 44. So tell me where my numbers go. Let's start with x. If we're looking for the missing part, where's our x going to go?
On the top of the first line.
Left or right? So x goes here, because we don't know that one. That's our missing part. Alright, where does our percent go? Where does the percent go, Ronnie?
Above the 100.
Above the 100. And then, what's the only thing that's left? What's the only thing that's left open up there? I need new friends. Elisa.
44.
44. Alright. Which method do you want to use? You want to move where we move our decimal, or do you want to move, or do the cross multiply and then figure out how many we had? Decimal? Okay, so here, where's my decimal in 215? Where's my decimal in 215? I need new friends. Emma.
Behind the 2.
Okay, so I start here and I move it to there, and that's where it is. Alright, so then, I'm going to slide over here. So I'm going to end up doing 2 and 15 hundredths times 44. Alright, when you get that answer, please stand up.
Very sussy. Jenkins, man. Yo, Jenkins.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I just shoved this in there like.
I got 90.60.
You did?
Okay, so what did you get when you did 2 Gemma? 17? Does it make it something different? Okay, shh, you don't need to. Troy.
I got 94.60.
Yeah, so, guys, so it should have been 94 and 600s and 94 and 60, sorry, 6 tenths or 94 and 60 hundredths. So that is essentially your answer. Now, let's have a conversation about our 2 answers. 15%. Is that a huge percent or is that kind of a small percent? So how many of you guys think like 15% is pretty big? Okay, so the majority of us agree that it's a fairly small percent. So does 3 and 45 hundredths make sense to be 15% of 23? Does that make logical sense to you? You wouldn't have 34% as 15% of 23, right? So the big thing about percents is making sure that you look at your answer and say, does this make sense? All right, so the next one, it says, what is 215% of 44? Well, 250% is twice 100% of that number, right? So does 94 and 6 tenths or 60 hundredths make sense for it to be 215%? Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Because twice 44 is what? Or 2 times 44 is what? 88. So it's going to be a little bit more than 88 as your answer. So when you're doing percents, you really need to slow down and just say to yourself, does my answer make sense? Because if it doesn't make sense, then you need to go back and check. All right, so that's the missing part. To me, I feel like the missing part is probably the hardest one to do. So for missing percent, still using that same layout of part over whole equals percent over 100. But now with this one, all you do is you multiply, then divide. Okay, so we're going to multiply our numbers and then we're going to divide it by that 100 or 200 or whatever it becomes. Alright, so what is the percent of 200, or what percent of 200 is 40? So what numbers, let me rephrase that. What are we looking for? Start with that. What are we looking for? And I'll give you a hint. It tells you right here. What are we looking for? Aiden. Right, so our x is gonna go there because we don't know what our percent is. Alright, the word is, what is that telling us? What is telling us? What do you think, Delilah? It's gonna tell us division, you're right. But for our numbers over here, so we're looking for the part and we're looking for the whole. Which number is the part, which number is the whole? So we have 40 and we have 200. Which one is the part? And it's okay if you don't know, that's why we're going through this. Which one do you think is the part? Christiana, why? Because it's small, I mean, that makes sense. But is there another reason why 40 is the part? And that's okay, because you know, sometimes you're just gonna guess, and you're gonna guess right, and you did, that's exactly what you did, you guessed right.
It's smaller than 200.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the idea that the smaller number is gonna be our part. I'll go with that for now. So what percent of 200 is 40? Alright, so here's where we do our cross multiplication, and then we're gonna multiply. So you're gonna cross here and here. So I'm gonna do it in my notebook. So I'm gonna do 40 times 100. And then I'm just gonna, so this is where you multiply, then divide. Alright, so when we multiply 40 times 100, what do we get? 4,000. So 4,000 divided by 200. So that is where the multiply then divide. So you multiply your part to your 100 and then you divide it by your whole. So what do you get when you do 4,000 divided by 20? If you're not sure, do it on your paper. So go ahead and say it up when you have your answer. Huh? Sorry.
You wrote 200 pages.
Sorry. Dyslexia kicks in every now and again. Alright, Leo, what'd you get, sweetie? 20. Alright, so your answer for here, so x equals 20. So 20%, sorry, for us, not 100%. So 40 is 20% of 200. Again, ask yourself, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Alright, because 20% is, again, it's not a huge amount, but it's a little bit, almost a quarter of it. And if you have 200, if you divided 200 into 4, what would each one of those increments be? What'd you say? No? What's 200 divided by 4? What's 20 divided by 4? 5. No, well, 5. So essentially 25% of 200 is going to be 50. So we're saying 40% of 200 is 20%. Is that fairly close? Does that make sense? No? Who said no? Did anybody say? I thought I heard no. Did you say no? It's okay if you said no.
I said yes.
Okay. Guys, I will be honest with you, and I think I told you this when we started percents. So let's go ahead and move on. It says what percent of 20, or what percent of 40 is 200? So we're looking for our percent, so we put our X there. Which one is our whole? Which one is our whole? Aiden, 40, and then 200 is our part. So this one, already looking at the fact that 40 is our whole and 200 is our part, we're gonna have a pretty big percentage, right?
Yes.
Alright, so again, I want you to cross multiply and then divide. So you're gonna do 200 times 100, get your answer and divide by 40. Stand up when you have your answer. Alright, so what is 1 times 2? 1 times 2. It's 2, right? And then how many zeros are we adding? No, we're adding 4. Alright, so then 20,000 divided by 40, that's really hard. Or I can just get rid of some zeros and think, okay, well what is 20 divided by 4? 5. And then technically I'll have how many zeros left? 2. So your answer to this one, and y'all just gotta be able to divide. Like I'm not, that is a super easy set of numbers to divide. So your answer for this one is 500%. And again, asking yourself, does that make sense? And you should say yes, because 200 is super, super big compared to 40. X equals 500%. Yep. All right, and then same thing with the missing whole. You're still doing the multiply then divide. All right, so you're looking at 25 is 40% of what number? So let's go ahead and the missing whole, where is our X gonna go? In our equation, if we're looking for the missing whole, where is our X going to go?
Bottom left corner.
Bottom left corner. All right. What about our 20 or our 40%? Where does that go? Mila. Above the 100. And then where does our 25 go? Where's our 25 go? There's only one place left. Kyra? Above the X. All right. And then you cross multiply and then you divide again. So we're gonna do, so this bottom part down here. You're gonna cross multiply. So you're gonna do 100 times 25. Raise your hand and tell me what is 100 times 25. Kaya? 2,500, and then we divide by 40. So 2,500 divided by 40. What times 40 gives you 2? Nothing. What times 40 gives you 25? What times 40 gives you 250? Or close to it without going over.
6.
6. This gonna give me 240. Alright, what times 40 is gonna give you 100 without going over? 100 without going over. So what times 40 gets you close to 100 without going over? Troy?
2.
Okay. Now, we're at a crossroads. What do? Well, we can't stop here. What do we have to add? And I know you can't see it at the bottom of the page anymore. But what do we have to add here? What do you think we have to add? Hamden? Yeah, so you add a decimal there, and you add another 0. Make sure you bring your decimal up. So now, we bring this 0 down. What times 40 gives me 200? 5. So our answer here is 25 is 40% of 62 and a half. That is our answer. So 25 is 40% of 62 and a half. Can't see that, sorry. And again, you cross, multiply, then divide. Cross multiply, then divide, cross multiply, then divide. So what do you think we're doing for this last one? 88 is 122% of what number? We're gonna be cross multiplying and then dividing. So what, 88, where does that go? Where does 88 go? Kylie?
Top left corner.
Top left corner, alright. Where does 122% go? Kyra?
Above the 100.
Okay, and then obviously we don't know what our whole is. So now you're gonna cross multiply, so you're gonna do 88 times 100. Raise your hand when you get that answer. Camden, what did you get? 8,800. And Camden, what are we gonna divide that by? Question.
100.
Not 100, but
Oh, 120.
122. Alright, so what can I multiply 122 by to get 8? What can I multiply 122 by to get 88? What can I multiply 122 by to get 880? I'll give you a hint. 7. 7. Go ahead. What's 122 times 7? What is it, Aiden? Alright, now what do we multiply 122 by to get close to 260? Kaya?
2.
What do you get when you do 2 times 122?
2.
Alright, what do we do? Do we stop or do we add our decimal and keep going?
Add our decimal.
Okay. What do we multiply 122 by to get close to 160 without going over? Mila? Add one more 0, bring it down. And we're gonna stop after this one because we could keep going or we could not. What do we multiply 122 by to get close to 380 without going over? Ronnie? And what do you get?
136. I mean, 336.
Alright, so like I said, we're stopping, so our answer for this one is, 72 and 1300 is 100, try that again. 88 is 122% of what number, and that would be 72, if I could talk today, that'd be fantastic. And 1300. Alright, you're gonna glue this in kind of weird today, so please look how you're gonna glue it in. Also, make sure that on the side of your paper, you have your work for each problem. Okay. Alright, so this work from here to there is your missing part. This work is your missing percent, and this work is your missing whole. And if you wanna write in parentheses, multiply, then divide, you can do that, so you know, multiply, then divide, whatever you need on this page, which you cannot see. So again, it's missing part, missing percent, and missing whole. So your notes that we took, you're going to put a teeny tiny bit of glue right on the inside of your notebook. And you're gonna glue it down right there. That way you can see all of your work. If I could, it's a rough morning, y'all. Oh my God. So you can still fold it up and see all of your work, but you also see your notes here. All right, when you have that done, stand up for me. Alright, when you're done, close your notebook for me, have a seat, so I know that you are paying attention. For the next part of the lesson today, I was not gonna have you work with a partner. I'm still, I don't know. I struggle with this because it's like, I feel like if you work with a partner, you're gonna do good, but you're also gonna spend a lot of time socializing. And this is due, like I said, on Canvas by tomorrow, 11:59. I gave you 2 days. But I wanna make sure that you guys have a full, complete understanding, and if working with somebody will help you, then I want you to do that. But if you feel like it's just going to be a distraction, then I do not want you to do that. Does that make sense? So the work for your activity that I'm about to show you is gonna go on this page, and if you need to turn and go to the next page, you can as well. Like, it's not just one page. So, this is for today. We just did our note. Excuse me. Like I said, it says work with partner. That's what I originally had for you guys to do, but I'm a little nervous. we'll try working with a partner. If it's not going well and conversations are not what they're supposed to be, then you'll just be working by yourself. How's that? We'll try it first. Alright, so you are going to click on ratios and percentages. So it's a review of ratios, and then it's also gonna be percentage. You are gonna have to make a copy of this. Alright, it forces you to make a copy. You're gonna hit make copy, and then it's going to come up. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have 10 problems. 12, 20. I can't count. Good Lord. Hold on. I'll get it together, I promise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Alright. So you have 20 questions that you're essentially having to do. So the first one I did for you, it says if 3 sodas cost $6, what is the cost per soda? That's unit rate, or unit price. That's something that we've been doing. I feel like we're pretty comfortable with that. The next one, it says if 8 tacos cost $12, what is the cost of 12 tacos? So I'm going to minimize this for 1 second. And it was, what was the problem? Was it 8 tacos, $12?
Yeah.
Alright.
And how much is 12?
Alright, so this is how you're solving these problems. You're doing your work here, you're gonna put your answer in there. So how do I figure this out? I'm gonna find what first? What am I gonna do first to answer this question? What do you think, Zoe?
How much?
Per,
Taco?
yes, perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna divide both of those by 8. And I'm dealing with money, correct? So I'm not gonna leave off a number or a 0 or anything like that. So that's gonna be 5. Now, this is technically my answer, but make sure that you write it as money. So when I bring it back over here, it's gonna be $1.50 per 1 taco. So now, how do I use this information to answer the rest of my question? Kylie?
$1.50 per taco, and then you multiply the tacos by, we multiply by 12, and then multiply 150 by 12, and then you get your answer for how much money it is for 1 taco. I mean, not for 1 taco.
Yep. Alright, so it's $17 per taco. So if I did this correctly, when I go and put my answer in, right here in this box, we should get a new color over here. So did it add any colors? Did it not?
I didn't.
Okay, so guys, so see the picture, it's kind of colored because we have the 2 in there, obviously. Let me take the 2 out. I'll set it in my map. Alright, so see how without the 2 in there, it's just a few white pieces are missing from that picture. When you put the 2 in, and you click off of it, you get the gray. We did 17, click off of it, so nothing changes, so is our answer wrong? Okay, what did we do wrong?
You got the wrong unit rate. It's 18.
Hmm?
It's the wrong unit rate.
Unit rate? 18? The answer is 18?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's why I keep you guys around. Alright, so it gives you a slightly different color. Alright, you are essentially going to end up with a picture of something. When you're done with that, you're taking a screenshot and that is what you're uploading to Canvas. Your work is in your notebook. Alright, in Canvas, which I haven't published yet, which I will. Let me get there. This is where you're uploading your picture. or your screenshot.
Okay.
Okay? Does that make sense? It's due, you don't have to, upload a picture of your work. I just want a picture of what you come up with once you get all your answers done. Does that make sense? So your work is already gonna be in your notebook. I will see that. You do have to show your work for all your questions. I'm gonna leave this up just so you guys can have the first 2 answers and then go from there. You're allowed to work around the room if you want to with your partner. You're allowed to stay in your seat. You're allowed to work by yourself. All right, go ahead and get started.